It's time to start. So I'd like to call this Board of Education meeting for September 15th to order. Can I need a motion to adopt the agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Need a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, share good things time. You want to start, Mr. Webster?
Yes, sir. As you guys can see, we attached it on there. We received a postcard at central office. It is titled "A Praying Mom," and it was to the school board, so I wanted to share that with you guys. I won't read it to you, but I figure it's always good to hear some positive things.
Awesome. Any other good news? All right. Any statements from patrons? No. Nope. All right. I'd like to entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda. Need a second? Second. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Discussion topics. We're going to discuss the ESSER 3 budget and outline. Whichever one of you two wants to go. Okay.
Sorry about that. I did an update on where we plan to spend the ESSER 20% for learning loss. With our morning daily tutoring, we do have several students who are involved in that. Some buildings have more students just age-wise. They come to school earlier than other buildings. But it is open to any student in the district. They're focusing on social emotional learning and using some of the Capturing Kids' Hearts curriculum that's out there. Intensive tutoring on Wednesdays is getting off to a start. We've had our meetings in each building. They are in the process of doing this beginning of the year assessments to kind of identify which students are the ones that we want to target and to really invite in. We do have some groups that are looking at social emotional and then a lot that are looking at that intensive content area tutoring. And it was really depending, going back to our community surveys as well as the data to really see what is it that we felt like and identified as our needs. The high school started September 8th with their tutoring. Middle school started today. And then Lucy will start on the 22nd. The Tiger training days, that's an idea that we had to really promote some physical activity and health and wellness and combine that with that social, emotional, and teamwork. At this point, we don't have any staff members who are doing that, but that's something that we hope to continue to work toward and add in the future. We are looking at our data analysis. Our two instructional coaches have worked really hard to develop a system and come up with a sheet that's going to collect that data, but really tying it into the things that teachers are already doing, trying not to make it one more thing for them, but what is it they're already doing, how do we capture that data, and then mine it for our ESSER 3 funds. As far as our virtual learning, we are in the process and we have a team that has met to kind of look at what we are offering as our curriculum and making sure that it is rigorous and meeting all of the qualifications that the state would like us to have, and continuing to offer good things for kids in the future. So we are excited to have that team started, and it's going to be very active here in the near future.
So if you guys remember with the learning loss, out of the ESSER 3 money that was given to us, 20% has to be given to learning loss within our district. We actually, yesterday, DESE finally unembargoed the state scores. We're in the process of breaking those down. We should have an update for you guys next month on that. Right now, hearing from Dr. Van Dieven in the state, she says it would be a misuse of data to compare it to data from the past, and I agree with that, just with everything going on. But we are very optimistic here in St. James that as we started breaking some stuff down today, our data looks like we are significantly higher than the state averages. So things are looking optimistic for us, but at the same time, we're not, we don't have the blinders on. There was some learning loss, and there are some things that our students are going to need from this time period. So you'll see in here broadly, we're trying to address some of those as we continue forward with it. We hope to narrow down on some specific things once we get that data. As we kind of move forward, the reason we need a motion here in a little bit to accept this. So we started working on this probably beginning of August. Then they told us the deadline to have it submitted was August 23rd. So we worked pretty fast trying to get things. After we submitted, they said any paid positions or stipend positions would require a contract to be associated with those. So that would be the email that we sent out discussing contracts with you guys. So any money that comes from those contracts are covered by ESSER money, and it's very openly stated within those contracts. It's a one-year contract, and even if it is extended, that it ends in 2 years when our ESSER money is gone. So any questions?
No, and I'd say it's good to hear. I heard that earlier today as well about the lots of our data rates were down for the state of Missouri. So for us to be somewhat decent, that's good to hear anyway.
Very good.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so we'll move on to action topics, and for action topics, we're going to approve the ESSER 3 budget as presented. Got a motion? We need a second? Second? Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, superintendent's report.
Kicking things off, PTO had their first meeting, and they'd asked for us to give an update, so I just wanted to give you guys an update on what PTO had going on. They're having a meeting on the 14th. They're talking about trunk or treat. Right now they're working with Merrimack Springs on this. The date is set for the 30th from 4 to 7 p.m. They organized a lot of volunteers to help out at the Grape and Fall Festival. They're currently planning to have a fall craft fair, and they're going to discuss that at their next meeting. As you guys can see there, kind of like I just mentioned, we plan to have some state testing numbers for you guys next month. Update on COVID. Obviously, we've made the move to level 1. At this time, remember, things can change quickly. Looking through on our dashboard, the first week of school, we had 5 positive cases. The second week of school, we had 6 positive cases. Last week, we had 7 positive cases. We'll tally up the positive cases this week as well. Obviously, the last week and into this week, quarantining did have to start due to moving to level 1. So far, our staff has done a very good job at separating everybody and keeping everyone distanced. I tallied it up earlier today. We were sitting around 2.7%, so well below our 8% at this time. Moving on to nutrition updates. We are dealing with a statewide food shortage. DESE has given out a waiver for schools to sign up for. We have filled out that waiver. What it does is it kind of loosens some of the restrictions so we can get any food that we can get. There's certain things in the past that they steer you to stay away from. This year they've said if you can order food and find food, get it for your kids. Wes and I were talking earlier today, and one of the smartest moves we made was probably getting that nutrition center ready, because we found that unless you order tractor trailer load, they're just putting you to the back of the list. So we're trying to order things by truckload right now, and that'll give us another freezer to put things where in the past we would not have been able to store that. We are optimistic. We're supposed to get a truck today. They bumped us back again to tomorrow. We're optimistic that's not going to get bumped back again, but right now it looks like we could mend the fence a bit if we get that truck in tomorrow. So hopefully that'll work out for us. Facilities report, phase 1 of the high school roof. It's finished already. They were in and out about 2 months ahead of schedule. The catch of that is, if you notice on the sides of it, you still see like the matting hanging over. So they still have to put their gutters and flashing in. That is on back order. They were optimistic that they thought it would be in next week. You know how it works. I feel right now they're still 2 months ahead on us. So even if that gets pushed back a little bit right now, it might look bad, but and structurally the roof is sound. Timing could not have been better as the gym floor is going in there, obviously. With that, we did go ahead and match all of the gutters and siding to what we just did on the front of the high school. So if you've ever paid attention, everything that on the renovated side is kind of a silver color. The old part's white, so we figure we're going to have to replace the white before the silver, theoretically, so we thought we'd just start moving that direction. So here initially, until we get through phase 3, it's going to look a little chunky. But once we get through phase 3, hopefully we have a uniformed roof. Nutrition center, the freezer's up and working, kind of like I alluded to there a minute ago. Update on Angel lighting. So the UV that you put in your HVAC that we discussed, that will actually, it kills viruses and germs. He reached out to me again mid last week. There's another piece that we're going to go ahead and move forward with as well. Within that, it's like a wand, UV wand. So a teacher can hold it over a computer, and it'll kill any germs on the computer. The teacher can hold it over a spot on a table. It'll kill any germs on the table. 100% paid for. I asked the guy, am I reaching for this guy here? If I said I want one for every staff member, and he said, I think you're not reaching far enough if you don't. So those will come along with that. We're optimistic the end of October. Lighting will be done. Hopefully, they're hoping the Angel lighting stuff and air purification will be there. But right now, the grant doesn't close till the 30th of this month, so it could be a little bit later. Just a forefront warning, not that you guys probably often check it. Obviously, 50% of that grant does come up front. Once we issue the check to GRP Wagman, FEMA has said it's a 30 to 90 day window there. For this project, we're talking $700,000 to $800,000 possibly, so we will have to pull out of the fund balance for that. So you will see the reserve drop a little bit until we get that check from FEMA. But obviously FEMA is a safe enough route. We're going to get the money if we are issued the grant. Within conversations with Wagman, they know if we don't get the grant, we don't do it. So we're safe there, but we will see our fund balance drop a little bit at that time. Dake Wells and Branco meeting. Last Friday, we met with Branco. It was a very optimistic meeting, actually. I think we're headed in the right direction there. Long-term, short-term facilities plans. One of the things I've asked Wes to do is I'm very hopeful we never get in another situation like we're in right now where every roof in the district needs replaced. Because if we didn't get this money in the sky, I don't know how we'd have dug our way out of it. So we're putting with all three buildings a short-term and long-term facilities plan together. We're going to start tackling it as we go. Once we get the plans done, we'll start looking at, okay, this year maybe middle school gets something new. Next year, elementary gets something new. Then the high school gets something new. Long-term, we'll start trying to save back some money and see if we can get our district where it belongs. Scoreboards and backboards are in. Waiting for the floor to be completed for install. If you guys haven't seen it, the gym floor looks sweet. It really does. Technology report. District-wide virtual signage. We're piloting a program out at the high school and middle school this year, just in an effort to communicate with parents. Digital signage. TVs will be placed on the entranceways. Pretty sharp program that it looks a little bit cleaner than just a PowerPoint or something. But we're going to test it in those two buildings this year and find out if it's something that we really think helps or if it's just fluff. And if it's something that we think keep people informed, obviously we'll look at moving forward with that in the future. We thought it was more important to start in the upper two buildings due to the fact in the Littles building, not all of them can fully read everything that would be up there, so we thought it was just a better chance. And right now, with COVID, parents aren't in the building, so not as many of them will see it. So we thought it just made more sense to test in those two buildings. Activities report. The gym has changed quite a bit since this was made, but that when Coach Shockley took the picture, that's what it looked like. Just some dates he wanted you guys to be aware of. September 24th, we have homecoming versus Cuba. The 25th, we have the softball invitational tournament. The 27th, girls basketball game, middle school girls basketball starts. And the 29th, we have a home cross-country meet. So just some dates he wanted me to share with you guys. And that is all I have for the superintendent's report.
Okay. Let's see. I'm going to do the financials.
Yep. Financially, better turn that back on. Financially, if you guys kind of look at the document there, you'll see revenues are up for this year, which that's when money coming in is up. That is also a good thing. You will also see that spending is up. So it is a good thing that revenues are up. If you compare that to last year, we had spent 9.49% of the budget last year at this time. This year we're up to 10.45. I think that was expected due to the fact last year we were doing zero PD. We told people unless it's a necessity, we're not buying it because there's so much uncertainty. We didn't know if we were getting money. Some of the bills that are on there right now are due to just cleaning up things after the construction project. So financially, we look very sound at the moment. Like I alluded to earlier, we have a couple things going on with possibly Branco and the Angel Lighting that could pull some money out of the reserves, but I think we're in a good spot right now that'll be fine.
Okay, Dr. Williams?
All right, so in our building reports, you can see there the enrollment and attendance that we have at this point in time. And attendance has been in that mid-90s range for each building since the start of school. A couple of good things I wanted to highlight. I just wanted to commend Linda Webster and her staff. They have just really gone above and beyond to try and find sources, and when our delivery trucks didn't make it here, they just jumped in to change their plans at the last minute for the week. So they've just done a phenomenal job. I'd also like to just point out Mr. Shockley and the coaches. They have been just super supportive of our tutoring program, and everybody came together to really come up with a compromise that allows kids to do both. And so I think that's a very positive thing for our community. Our students are in the process of taking their beginning of the year assessments, and that's kind of across the board and in almost all of the buildings. We are excited to have the intensive tutoring start. We think that that's going to reach several of our students. Our instructional coaches and our curriculum coaches have been in. We've been taking surveys trying to really get to the needs of the teachers to make sure that we're addressing those needs for them as well. And the district has really come together. We were able to sit down, have conversations across each of the buildings, and really are united in our commitment to creating our assessment capable learners. And so that's a very exciting thing that we're all on the same page and moving forward with that vision. We have submitted the Grow Your Own grant. We're waiting for approval from DESE. We have a team of teachers who are excited to be a part of the teacher retention grant, and we're going to take the survey that we gave to the whole staff, and they're going to go through and kind of break it down. For instance, some of the things that people said was, well, we wanted maybe some recognitions, and that was an idea. What does that really mean? Or we'd like more activities and mentoring and more time with that. So this group's going to help us kind of flesh out what all of those details will be. Our aspiring administrator program, we're hoping to get our second year rolling, and those application things have been sent to the buildings and all the teachers, and those are due back next week. So we're hoping to have some people apply to be in that. When you get into the Lucy Wortham James Elementary report, you'll see that they've gone through each of the different grade levels. Everybody's busy working and moving forward, settling into those routines and getting their expectations down, but they are actually into curriculum and getting to do some exciting things at that level. And they shared some good news as well, if you want to check that out, and welcomed a new member of the community with one of our teachers. At the middle school, they are piloting the ZERN program. That is something they're piloting at the elementary as well. It is something that goes up through 8th grade, so we are trying that out, and we are working on still looking for a math resource, but the pilot is going very strong at the middle school at this time. They had a great turnout for open house this year, which is very exciting. And then social studies is busy unwrapping the new Missouri Learning Standards. At the high school, their focus is really on creating those strong collaborative teams, and every PLC really got off to a great start, and they have been working hard. Mr. Johnson's been in supporting those groups, as have the instructional coaches, and it's really been a great start, I think, to the year with PLCs in that building as well. The teachers are working on their professional development plans and looking at those personal areas of growth that they want to work on. And I was going to ask the principals, do you have anything that you would like to add for your building report?
Awesome. All right. MSBA?
MSBA report started out with Dr. Van Dieven discussing that scores had been released. Obviously, overall scores are down in the state of Missouri. She had mentioned that what I alluded to earlier on let's not misuse this data. She's been very clear and upfront in supporting the schools with that statement that she has made. She did say that overall 90% of students last year were able to test, which is much exceeding their expectations. So with that said, they're not going to have any conversations of doing a fall state testing to try and catch up on last year. They do feel that we got adequate data from that with 90% of the students. So that's kind of been taken off the table to do this year. Emphasized that this data should and could be used to see where what areas students fell behind during the pandemic. They continue to push the fact that their top priority is not only the physical health of students, but mental health. Overall in the United States, cases of anxiety with students has seen being on the growth, as well as depression from a young age. So using data that's factual information, we don't know if that's factual for our area, but I would assume we're no different than anybody else in that area. So they emphasize that we need to make that a priority within our schools.
All right. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to go to closed session. Got a motion and a second? A second? All those in favor, raise your hand. Okay, we're in closed session.